Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to anyone who's new with us today. As you know, there are 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week, and 52 weeks in a year. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, the week, or the year, we often wonder, where did all our time go, and how did time pass by so quickly? My grade 12 high school class had a big sign that read, "Time will pass. Will you?" I did, but strangely enough, that's one of the few things I remember from grade 12. Writers, philosophers, and people from all walks of life have reflected on time. A friend once said to his other friend, "Time is money." And the other said, "That is even more true when you're talking to a lawyer." Everyone, and especially religions, have speculated on the general notions of time and eternity. Today, the word mindfulness has particularly become popular, but it is not new. All cultures, in one way or another, have emphasized the importance of slowing down and being more mindful of the time we have. I don't know if anyone has ever attended a Japanese tea ceremony. I was fortunate enough to have attended a few. There are very few other things I've experienced that have forced me to be so mindful of the seconds, the minutes, and absolutely everything else around me. The Japanese tea ceremony is usually an hour, but can take up to 4 hours. It takes over 10 years to be certified as a master to learn the over 300 various ceremonies. Every action of both the guest and the master are mindful and particular. The passing of time becomes secondary to the beauty of the ceremony of preparing the water, cleaning the utensils, mixing the tea, admiring the decorations of the bowl, and, of course, and only finally, drinking the tea. We have gotten used to doing everything so quickly that we often miss the beauty of the moment, the beauty of the people we are with, and the beauty of the things that we are doing. Prayer, and in particular the Divine Liturgy, is meant to slow us down so we can appreciate the seconds, the minutes, the days, the weeks, and years that God has given us. We sometimes want shorter prayers so we can get on with the rest of our week. Actually, the prayers here in church should help us be more mindful of God's presence in our lives, the blessings we have, and the people God has given us, because without these, life is meaningless. In today's gospel, Jesus tells a story about two people who went to the temple to pray. The Pharisee brags about how good he is and how bad he thought everyone else is, whereas the publican bowed his head, beat his breast, and said, "God, be merciful to me, a sinner." Jesus places the actions and words of the publican as an example for us of true prayer, mindfulness, and self-awareness. In today's culture that focuses so much on looking good and feeling good, we have forgotten the more important virtue of actually being good. Cosmetics and fashion are multi-billion-dollar industries because they give us the false illusion that how we look is more important than how we are doing on the inside and how we are doing in relation with everyone else around us. Unfortunately, the cost of our clothes bears absolutely no relation to the quality of our character. We have to all ask ourselves whether our desire to impress people is simply our way of hiding what is broken and hurt inside of us. Jesus challenges us to be more mindful of our weakness and to make our own the prayer of the publican. Slowly but surely, God, be merciful to me, a sinner. Jesus does not want us to develop a low self-esteem, but he does challenge us to acknowledge that regardless of who we are all broken and we all have room for growth. It is only when we recognize our brokenness that prayer makes any sense. If we are perfect, we don't need God. However, when we recognize that we are not perfect, it is only then that we can be humble before God and invite him to heal and to restore us. The Japanese tea ceremony may help people be mindful for up to 4 hours, but the Divine Liturgy and our daily prayers remind us to be mindful of both our strengths and weaknesses every minute of our day and every day of our week. God, be merciful to me, a sinner. Or the longer version, Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner, is now called the Jesus Prayer, and it has become the heart of the Catholic and Orthodox monastic tradition because those who dedicate their entire lives to a life of constant prayer need to recognize that their prayer to God flows from a broken humanity. This prayer has been used in connection with our breathing so we can be aware that every second of every minute, of every hour, of every day, of every week, of every year is a unique gift from God. How many of these have we missed? How many of these have we misused? And how many of these are we fully grateful for? Close your eyes right now and repeat this prayer while being mindful of your breathing and your heartbeat. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. We can speculate about how time passes. However, before we regret that we do not have enough time, we need to ask ourselves what we are doing with the time we have. There are 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week, and 52 weeks in a year. How much of that time do we use to acknowledge and work on our weaknesses? How much of that time do we work on being mindful of the gifts God has given us? And how much of that time do we thank God for the gifts of the people we have in our life? Mindfulness in the Christian tradition not only focuses on being aware of the passing of time, but on being aware that every second and every gift that takes place in time. What better way to spend our time than being grateful to God who gave us his time and gives us all of time to love him?